Welcome to my channel, and I'm back with you once again with another video of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Few days back I did a video for the Airbus A320 Neo, which is the default plane for the Microsoft Flight Simulator, which comes with the simulator, and plus it's also available on the Xbox, that how to enter the flight plan manually in the MCDU or the multifunction control and display unit of the plane. And on that video I was asked a question that how to go with an IFR clearance and IFR flight following. It's very easy to do it. You have to follow the procedures, and the flight following is done. As we are configuring the plane ourselves, so that's why depending upon the configuration, you get different ground services options, how to configure your plane. So this video is not about the flight planning or flying the plane or anything else. It's just like exploring the ATC options, and let's see how it works. I will do a short flight from Islamabad to Lahore, and I will start from the gate 4 at Islamabad International Airport, and I will see that how the ATC will behave or act during this whole video. So here I am in the plane, and you can see that ATC options are not coming because the electrical systems are not on. For this, we should have the batteries up and running. So once the batteries are up and running, then we can have the communication with the ATC. Right now I just want the external power to be connected, although it's available, but just to show you, if I connect to the ground 122.950, let's go to ground, and let's ask for the power supply.
Islamabad ground Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320. Could you please send a ground power unit? Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320, a ground power unit is on the road.
You can also call for the baggage service.
Ground Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320. Could you please send the baggage? Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320 baggage is on the way.
You can call for the catering.
Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320. Could you please send the catering truck? Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320. The catering truck is on the road.
And plus the jetway.
Islamabad ground Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320. Could you please connect the jetway to the aircraft? Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320. The jetway is going to be connected.
Okay, now the jetway is getting connected, and you can see this ATC communication is going good so far. If I go back to clearance, all I can see is this depart straight out, depart north, and all these options are coming in. So right now, as I'm not going to taxi, so that's why I'm not going to call for the taxi clearance. And you can see this option is coming as door is now opened. You can see it in the flight warning system. I can just switch it off, and if I go out, I can see that all the ground services are there. Okay, let's get back inside the plane, and let's start configuring the MCDU, which is the multifunction control and display unit. And I don't use any shortcut keys because I really forget them. So that's why I'm using it like this. If I want to increase the brightness, I can increase the brightness like this. And first of all, I have to go to the initialization page and start the flight planning, OPIS to OPLA. There is a video on my channel which you can just go and watch, in which I've taken you through the procedures of how to configure the MCDU for the flight planning. Cost index is 15. The smaller the number, the higher the speed at the cruising altitude. It's mostly used for the not mostly, it's used by the airlines to calculate their fuel burning rate, but use a small number. Plane will go at a higher speed, and the cruising altitude will be 25,000 feet, which is 250. If I enter this, it will automatically pick it up, and plus the outside temperature at the cruising altitude. Before I proceed further, I will take you to SimBrief, which is a nice tool for the flight planning, widely used by the people using Microsoft Flight Simulator and X-Plane 11. And simbrief.com is the link. I've also given it in the description, so you can follow that. Okay, now I will be flying from OPIS to OPLA, and let's select the airframe, and cruise profile I will set it to 15, and fuel factor altitude will be 25,000 feet. Runway 10 right and 36 right is selected. Passengers, I will take it as full. Freight, I will take 5 tons. That's it. Now you can see the flight plan is updated. As I've told you before, there is a video on my channel in which I've told you how to do the flight planning, and plus also there is a video in which I've told you how to identify the Airways and the waypoints in a flight plan. You can just go and watch that video. But for the time being, I'll just keep it simple. This is the SID, this is the star. SID is for the departure, star is for the arrival, and this is the flight plan. And the first waypoint, J121 is an airway, and then Akbar. I will generate the flight plan so that I can get the fuel calculations. Here it is, 4.9 tons. Let's get back in the plane, and first of all I forgot to do one thing. Turn on the external power, as the external power was connected. Now the external power is on and all the systems of the plane are up and running. They were initially before but on the batteries, but now external power, as it is now connected, it's running. I just forgot to do that. Okay, now so before I do the rest of the flight planning, I will set the fuel to 5.4 tons. Over here you can see the fuel and the maximum allowable fuel. So right now it's 10,000. I will change it to 5. Let's keep at 5,106, which is 5 tons. And plus all this calculation is here for the passengers. You can match it with the given one. Let's see if the weight in the sim brief is, so it's 68,880 over here, and the estimated takeoff weight calculated as per the passengers and plus what you call the freight that I was taking, 5 tons. So I can just set it over here, and the rear baggage I can set 5,000. And with this 57,443, so it's, if it's 68,880. So additional 11,000 is required. I can keep it over here, let's say 10,437. If I enter 10,437, 60 CG out of limit. Okay, I've actually entered too much weight. So let's see if I keep it 8,000 over here, 63, and let's say if I keep further 5,000 over here. And let's see if I keep 3,000 over here. We can make it 3,500. You can just see the difference that's coming over here. You can adjust it to 60. Let's see if I keep it 0. So we need additional, if it is 68,880 minus 64,265, 64,265. So it's 4,615. That's it. So it's 68,880. So now we have just matched it with the calculations given in the sim brief. So the center of gravity is also there. There is a maximum weight in each class. You cannot exceed that. That's why initially I got this error. So right now the fuel is all set and the weight is all set. It is all done. And if I go to the initialization B page, you will see this is all done. If I go to initialization B page, you will see the 0 fuel weight and the 0 fuel weight center of gravity, and the block fuel is coming. That's it. Okay, now for the flight planning, if I go here, I can, right now it's a very tricky thing to do. If you want to follow the procedures, it's if I go back to clearance, I'll tell you. If I right now select depart straight out, it will tell me the runway. I will not do this right now. I will just select a runway based on my flight plan that I've made in the sim brief, and once I've got the clearance for the taxi, then I will again select the runway if it's different. So right now I'm going to ignore this option, and I'm not going with this. And before I proceed further, I will just tell you that for the flight assistant, I've turned the AI radio communication off because I want to do it myself. In the flight plan, you can see that I've selected runway 10 right for the departure, and index 2C is the SID, which is the standard instrument departure. It's the point. It will take us to Indek and then to J121 Airway and Akbar. So let's select this flight plan option, and then from here I will select departure 10 right, Indek 2C. Can I find it? Yes, 2C, insert, And then after Indec, the plane will go to the Airway J121 to Akbar. I'm just doing it very quickly over here in this flight plan because I have an understanding that you know how to do it. Otherwise, if you don't know, there is a video, as I've told you before, on my channel, which has given you the details of how to do this. You can just go and watch that video, and then you can always come back and watch this video. So right now, the flight plan that I have entered, it's if I select plan, and if I just scroll through the flight plan, you can see the flight plan is now properly coming over here and it's properly updated. If I go to performance, I can select flaps to 1. You can ignore this flex to temp thing. It's regarding the takeoff performance. Very subjective thing based on the engines and the airframe, and plus the runway length, condition. There's so many factors involved into it. I will be not using a reduced thrust for the takeoff. I will be setting the thrust to toga, which is a takeoff and go around, which is the maximum thrust. So that's why I'm just ignoring this option. Otherwise, if you really need to go with a reduced thrust, then you have to enter this information. If I click V1, VR and V2, it will give me the calculations. So that's it. So right now, we have done all the necessary MCDU configuration. The initialization page is updated. Initialization B page is updated. Flight plan, we have done it. Performance, we have done it. Now it's time to see what's happening over here in the ground services. Request power supply end. I don't want to do this. You can see the jetway has to be disconnected.
Islamabad ground Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320. Could you please disconnect the jetway from the aircraft?
Okay, so now the jetway will be disconnected. And for the fuel truck, I didn't call for the fuel truck because as I've already adjusted the fuel over there in this option, in the Microsoft Flight Simulator, you can see the fuel is already set over here, fuel on board. So no need to call for the truck, but if you want, it's your wish. Right now, I will just see turn on the fuel pumps. Just make sure no light is on. It means something is not right. But if all the buttons are black, the lights are turned off, it means everything is on. You don't have to worry about that, except for the external power. But external power is on. So after turning on the APU, I will disconnect the external power, and then the plane will be on its own power. Let's wait for some time. I think 4 or 5 seconds. Once this is available, the APU, then I can turn on the APU bleed and cut off the external power. Now the APU is available. I can cut off the external power, as now the plane is on APU. I can turn on the APU bleed. Bleed is basically required to start the engines. And with this, everything is good. Let's strobe, beacon, wing lights, logo lights, and that's it. Seatbelt sign on, and this is all done. Now I can, you can see right now, I can go for the clearance. Let's see. And plus over here you can see request IFR clearance for instrument flight plan. As now you have done all the flight planning, your APU was on, everything is on. Now you can have an IFR clearance for instrument flight planning. It's good. So remember that once you get into the plane, you turn on the batteries, you get all the ground services, your flight plan is all done. And once your APU is up, you can have a request IFR clearance for instrument flight plan. If I get this,
Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320 IFR to Lahore, ready to copy. Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320 is cleared to Lahore Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 10 left, climb and maintain 11,000 feet. Departure frequency is 119.65 squawk 7576. Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320 cleared to Lahore Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 10 left, climb and maintain 11,000 feet. Departure on 119.65 squawk 7576. Airbus 320 readback correct. Contact ground on 122.95. Good day.
Okay, now we have got the clearance and it's for the runway 10 left. So I will change the runway in the flight plan. I will go over here, 10 right, and I will select 10 left. Now for the SID, it's very easy. For the 10 left, it was Indy 2C, I think, and for this 10 left, it will be either Indy 1E or 1G. We can select any of these. So I can select Indy 1E and I can insert. And for the flight plan, I can check that the flight plan is correct. So as I told you before that while making a flight plan in the sim brief, you have to select a runway as per your wish, but because we just need it for the calculation and for the Airways. But once it's done, then you can always change it afterwards. Even if it was 28 left or right, I could have gone back into SimBrief to change the flight plan and to see that if I'm taking off from 28 left or right, then what is the SID. Otherwise, you can also use Indy 1E or 1C because once the plane takes off from 28 left or right, it is in the opposite direction, but it will eventually come to INDEC because INDEC is the waypoint that the plane has to follow to fly towards Lahore. This is something that comes with an experience. So if you keep on making different flight plans and flying in and out of different airports, you will come to know about that. Okay, so this is all good. Now for the ground services, I need a pushback, so I will call for the pushback.
Islamabad ground Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320 requesting pushback.
Let's release the parking brakes.
Sierra X-ray 320 pushback request accepted.
I have to disconnect the external power now. It's all done. Seat belt signs are on. Oh, snow smoking is also on. Everything is looking good so far, and you can see now the tug is getting connected. And soon the pushback will start, so the tug is coming. Brakes are released. As in this flight plan over here in the navigation display, you can see that I have to take off from this point. So I have to turn the plane towards right, and then I will go in this direction for the taxi, and then I will go for the runway. So it's now there. So I will ask the tug to steer to the right. It's something that I'm experimenting with just to get the right time. So that I'm aligned with this taxiway. We have to, after the pushback, we have to be aligned with this. So now you can see that I've got the IFR clearance, and for the altitude, it's 11,000 feet. I can set it over here, 11,000 feet. And let's ask the tug to steer towards right.
Alpha Sierra X-ray 320 requesting pushback tug to steer the aircraft to the right.
Let's set the flaps to 1. Arm the ground spoilers. With this, engine mode selector to ignition, and let's start engine 2. And let's save some time.
Islamabad ground Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320 requesting the end of pushback.
I've applied the brakes because I'm not straight with the line. This slight delay will mess up with the pushback. So right now I'm properly aligned with this taxiway, so that's good. Now it's all done. I'll get back to clearance and request taxi IFR. Once the engines are on, I'm about to taxi. I will get this clearance. Now you can see the engine 2 is running. I will just save time and I will go with the engine 1 also. So remember to follow the procedures properly, and now you know at what stage after the APU you can get the IFR clearance, and it's very easy. And after the pushback you can ask for the taxi IFR, and this is really good. So the flaps are set, ground spoilers are active, for the auto brake set to maximum in case of rejected takeoff, and that's it. For the barometric pressure, we will get it after the takeoff clearance. So now right now you can see the engine 2 is stable, and soon the engine 1 will be stable also. Then I will turn off the APU. You can see the fuel getting burned. Let's wait for it to reach to 19.9. Okay, so that's it. Engines are stable. Let's set it to normal, and let's turn off the APU. Let's turn off the APU bleed. That's it, and let's go for the taxi. Release the parking brakes, and let's give some power to the engines. Speed is really high. But as I told you before, that it's only about the ATC communication. And just to clarify a few things, because honestly speaking, I was also not really using the ATC communication as I was flying the fly-by-wire. And afterwards, for the last 2-3 months, I was just flying the Phoenix Airbus A320 because it's really good. But mostly the people, they come and ask me a lot of questions who are actually using the Xbox, and for them it's an issue because they cannot have the Phoenix Airbus A320. So the plane that they have is the A320 Neo, which is the default plane in the Microsoft Flight Simulator. Oh, I forgot to take the taxi clearance. You can take it right now. My bad. Sorry. But just before the taxi, you have to do this step. I just forgot it.
Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray tree 20 taxi to and hold short of runway 10 left using taxiway November Kilo Alpha. Contact tower on 122.15 when ready.
Let's reduce the throttle a bit because I was going at a very high speed. Should not be more than 20 knots. I was going at 60. Okay, so now I've got the taxi clearance, and let's reduce the speed a bit. Everything is looking good so far.
Airbus tree 20, did you hear my last transmission?
Yes, actually I have to acknowledge this.
Taxiing hold short runway.
But this step should have been done before.
Taxiway November Kilo Alpha Airbus tree 20.
The taxi clearance. My bad. Okay, so now I'm just short of the runway 10 left over here, and this is the runway 10 left. I will just stop here. That's it. Let's engage the brakes, and let's bring this option up. Request takeoff clearance.
Islamabad Tower Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray tree 20 ready for IFR departure runway 10 left. Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray tree 20 QNH 29er.62 wind calm. Cleared for takeoff runway 10 left. Cleared for takeoff runway 10 left Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray tree 20.
Okay, now so we have the QNH 29.62, and plus now I will turn on the AI radio communication because I will be now flying the plane, and I will leave the communication to AI. You can see now the flight following is good, and let's release the brakes, and let's turn the plane left on the runway, and let's take off, and let's see how this flight following goes. So I'm taking you through all the procedures of the ATC right now, just to make sure that no step is missed, and if you have any issues, how to fix them up, especially if you are manually doing this flight planning. Otherwise, it's advisable to leave the ATC communication to AI, because then it automatically does it. But it's also good to do communication yourself, because if you are planning to go for VATSIM, it will give you a good idea how to get the clearance at different levels: before the taxi, after the taxi, before the takeoff, after the takeoff, before the landing. So now I'm here at the runway 10 left, Let's see if everything is looking good. Yes, so let's give
211 exit runway when able.
so full throttle toga. It's nice and cloudy in Lahore. Now there are some heavy rains in Pakistan nowadays.
Pack Blue 211 turn next taxiway.
And here we go. Initially the climb for 10 degrees, and then I can increase the climb rate. As I have a positive climb rate, that's why I can take the gears up, and I can increase the vertical speed. As you can see that I was overspeeding.
All about departure on 119er decimal 65. Good day.
Okay.
119er decimal
As I was
65
overspeeding, that's why I've
320.
increased the vertical speed.
Pack Blue 211 turn next taxiway.
And let's reduce the throttle. Now we have reduced the thrust reduction, and let's reduce the vertical speed because now the speed was dropping. Okay. Trying to follow the flight path. And let's engage the autopilot right now. And let's disarm the ground spoilers, and that's it. Now the plane is following the flight plan. The green dot speed is coming. Good speed for the clean configuration. Let's increase. Increase the brightness because I think things are not so visible. Ecam is at full brightness. So you can see now the plane is following the flight plan. Climbing up to 11,000 feet. And at this point I can also change it to standard because the transition altitude was 5,000 feet. We are crossing the 7,000 mark. And that's it. So now you can do the flight following. Right now I'm going to land at the Lahore airport, which is Allama Iqbal International Airport. And hopefully after watching this video you will know how to do the flight following, and plus get an IFR clearance, and plus have an IFR flight following. Thank you very much for staying with me. If you've got any questions, do ask me in the comment section. I try to answer them during a short period of time, but if I cannot, kindly excuse me for that. And if you've got any feedback, the comment section is there for you.
Airbus A320.
Okay, now we have got the clearance for the landing. So this is how you do your IFR clearance and IFR flight following. Thank you very much for staying with me. Hope to see you soon.